What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Day, and I'm a cybersecurity engineer at Amazon. And today, I'm once again, for the third time, going to be reacting to cybersecurity TikTok. Gotta love it. Like I said, the first one I made actually did a lot of numbers, so I've already actually made a second one. I haven't posted that yet, but by the time this video is going to be out, the second one should be out already. So if you want to check out any of those videos, I will leave them linked in the description below. But today we're reacting to TikTok once again, and we're just doing this before, we never know what might happen to TikTok before they get it banned, whatever the case is. So let's just kind of milk this thing until it's over. But today, I've got a guest with me. I'm here with my best friend and also the co-founder of CYBERWOX Academy, Charles. Charles, you want to introduce yourself?
What's up? My name is Charles. I've been on the channel a few times, but as they said, co-founder of CyberWOX Academy. I also work in cybersecurity as a threat detection engineer.
Bet. So we've got Charles on the channel. We've got Charles reacting to these videos. By the way, I actually have a podcast episode with Charles where I talked to him about how he became a threat detection architect at 21, I believe. Definitely go check out that episode. Pretty packed with a lot of actionable advice, because Charles was also a computer science major while he was in college. He got like a bunch of internships as well. So like he has a really great career track record with him. There's a reason why we're best friends. So definitely go check out that video, that podcast episode, and let's dive right into this cybersecurity reaction. This is going to be fun.
Nah, for real.
All right, bet. All right, let's get started with the first video. This first one is you're being lied to about cybersecurity. Let's see what he has to say.
You are being completely lied to about cybersecurity. So I keep seeing these videos online of people who have definitely never touched a computer in their life saying they do cybersecurity fully remote in the Bahamas making 6 figures plus. And I'm here to tell you, don't feel like you're missing out, because it is not true. I'm a cybersecurity engineer who's worked at top tech companies like Tesla and Amazon and has actually made 6 figures plus, and I'm telling you guys, it is not true.
Honestly, not gonna lie, I personally have a little bit more respect for people who've worked at I guess bigger tech companies. Yeah. I mean, but it doesn't diminish anyone who's worked at other tech companies. Yeah. If you tell me where you've worked at and I know the company, I definitely have a little bit more respect for you, because I'm like, okay, there's a name behind the credibility you're claiming, right? And I mean, whether it's, if you say you've worked at Chipotle, or you work or you worked at Chick-fil-A as a cybersecurity engineer, I would still respect you, because you're putting a name behind it. Those are pretty prestigious companies. It doesn't matter where you've worked at. If you put a name behind your credibility, I respect you a lot more than people who just be like, oh, I've worked in cybersecurity, but I don't really know where to base your credibility on, right? Personally, for him, Amazon and Tesla, I'm like, okay, he probably has some level of skill for him to have worked at those companies.
Yeah, it's facts. And a lot of companies are still figuring out cybersecurity. So kind of to your point, right? You told me you work cybersecurity, but where? There's a reason maybe you can work from Bahamas. You're not putting in the work. I know if you work at Amazon, Tesla, then it's gonna have a little more weight, as you said, behind what you're saying. So,
yeah,
totally agree with what you're saying.
Yeah. I think the only people that I feel might be able to do that and still have some credibility are people who work in offensive security, or or do bug bounty. I think bug bounty people have a little bit more credibility with regards to maybe working from a beach somewhere, because they're working on their own time, and I mean, I guess it works for them, but I don't think it's gonna be the same for if you're working an Amazon or a Tesla or Meta,
exactly,
or a healthcare company. You're probably in office.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whether you're entry-level, mid-level, cybersecurity is not easy to get into. Companies literally hire you to protect their most critical assets, and they can lose billions of dollars if you mess up. Well,
I feel this is such a I feel what he just said is so trivial, but it gets so lost in the sauce about the fact that get cybersecurity, but behind us working in cybersecurity is us literally protecting critical infrastructure, assets, businesses, people's finances, their information. It might seem trivial to say that because it comes with the job, but I feel that just kind of gets lost in the sauce of just gigs of cybersecurity.
Totally agree, man, because like he said, the implications, if you don't do your job well or you mess up, are huge. You see all these articles about these big corporations, they lost 30 million, 40 million, because of improper security controls or things being in place. So it's probably getting a little off topic, but when you talk about how hard it is to get into the industry, there has to be a standard.
Facts.
There's and in some cases lives at risk. If you really go deep into it. So that's a good point he makes.
Yeah, 100%.
Obviously, they're going to be really selective with who they choose to actually do the job. And that's why getting a certification or two from some free online course is not actually going to get you a job in cybersecurity like these ads tell you. In reality, if you want to get into cybersecurity, you're going to have a pretty decent understanding of databases, networks, front end, back end, basically everything. Now, this might seem like a lot, but to be honest, if they're paying you 6 figures plus to defend the most critical assets of a company where they can potentially lose billions of dollars if they get hacked, and you're the one supposed to protect it, it makes sense that you're supposed to have pretty decent knowledge.
Honestly, that's a bar.
He's spitting, bro. It's true.
Like if I'm gonna pay, if I have $100 million company, right? Let's say I've never worked in cybersecurity before. I have $100 million company, and I'm essentially supposed to hire like a small security team to protect this company for me. I'm gonna hire a CISO, maybe like some other like cybersecurity professionals. If I'm going to be paying them like multiple 6 figures to protect my $100 million company, all these assets, all this information, my intellectual property, all of those things, all the information of my customers, like they better be pretty good at what they do. Like I expect them to know a lot of things. Like because you can't think about it. If I'm a business owner, if I'm like I said, if I'm a CEO of my company of $100 million, there had to be a lot of things I had to know to build a company to that point. I had to know sales. I had to know marketing. I had to know business. I had to know like selling. I had to know the domain I was in. If it's restaurant business, I have to understand like the restaurant business. If it's like if it's e-commerce, I have to understand the products. Like I have to know so much stuff to become a CEO of a company that's making $100 million a year. So if I'm hiring someone to do cybersecurity for me, you better also know everything.
Yeah, I think that's so true. Like I think a lot of times, as like job seekers, we're always thinking from our perspective. Like somebody should hire me because I did this, this, and this. But at the end of the day, it's like what value do you provide to the business, right? And they don't see that value based off your credentials, what you know. Then it's like, I'm not. Like I don't know you from anywhere, right? You're not like we're not friends. So it's just like business is business at the end of the day. So yeah,
No, literally. I feel like if job seekers can adopt the mindset of like, look, business is business.
Right.
If I don't get hired, it's probably because I don't meet up with what the business needs. Exactly. I think we'll probably have people who are less like butthurt about like interviewing and not getting jobs.
100%, because we know that like it's tough to get into the industry, and like people have said it so many times. But at the end of the day, like the way that you're looking out for yourself, employers looking out for themselves. Yeah. So sometimes it's just you can even be knowledgeable, right? You could be doing the right stuff, but sometimes like it's just not a match for what they're looking for, and that's okay. Eventually, you'll find it, and there's ways to kind of navigate the industry and figure out how to be more of a match for more employers. So
facts, straight up facts. This one is about, do you code in your job 6 figures in cybersecurity? Let's see.
So I make 6 figures in cybersecurity and I don't code. And how's that possible? I just spilled this all over myself. So cybersecurity is not...
What's that laugh? that was kind of funny. Hold on.
Spilled this all over myself. So
That's hilarious. Let's see what she has to say.
security is not a job necessarily or a career where you have to code. There's so many different things to do. There's so many different roles. Now, personally, I'm a security engineer and I do vulnerability management. But let's say I want to be a senior, cybersecurity engineer, and I'm doing a different work. I'm a different company. Then yeah, it's to my benefit to learn to code.
Okay, I like that she started the video off like that because I feel like there's this whole premise behind like you don't need to code to be in cybersecurity, which like to an extent is true. But when you propose that sort of rhetoric without putting some context behind the fact that it will definitely stagnate your growth for certain positions or for certain companies if you don't know how to code. Like when you don't put that caveat there, I feel like it's definitely disingenuous and misleading.
Yeah, I definitely agree because as she said, right, there are roles that are no code roles, but like when you tell somebody, a lot of times you got to think about the intent behind what somebody's telling you, right? Like if it's always like take the path of least resistance to achieve the goal of getting to cyber, you might be selling that person short of like if they learn to code, they could become an engineer at this company or do this, right? So sometimes I'm glad she started that way because a lot of people would just kind of run with, hey, you don't need to code, and then people are in a spot where, like you said, their growth is stagnated.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, that's facts.
Yeah.
But as an analyst, as a cybersecurity analyst, I didn't have to learn, and I didn't know how to code. Also, as a security consultant, I didn't have to know how to code. It was all non-code.
I think another thing is also like there's a lot of like when you hear cybersecurity role, like name, like it's like for example, like a security consultant is a very broad role. Like you could be a security consultant that does offensive security. You could be a security consultant that does like instant response. You could be a security consultant that does GRC. You could be a security consultant that does like SIM deployments. You could be a security consultant that does like different things. And like those different security like consultancy roles or like consultations that you might be doing for your consulting company have different like expectations, like experience wise and skills wise. So I think it's also important, like when we're talking about things like this, like if we say security consultant, I didn't have to learn how to code. What kind of security consultant were you? Were you a GRC consultant? Were you like a SecOps consultant or DFIR consultant, an offensive security consultant? What kind of consultant were you? I think especially videos like this that are very accessible to impressionable beginners, it's important to like really explain things and give caveats so that people don't like kind of like run with this wrong impression or idea.
It's true, because the example is where you an application security consultant. You need to know how to code for that, So to your point, man, like definitely need to kind of give a little more, I guess, detail, right? So people who are now entering don't kind of get the wrong idea and start going down the wrong path.
Majority of my friends and colleagues and people in cybersecurity that I know of do not code. Obviously, as you get more knowledgeable and because your job is to secure code, it helps to not only understand the code, but also be able to code yourself, but you don't have to. Yeah. So that's why I say software engineers or software web developers or like anybody who has touched code, if they make that transition to cybersecurity, it's their world basically.
That's facts.
That's so true.
That is so true. And I mean, like we could look at it from a perspective as someone who did computer science in college, right? And had to like basically code throughout college, and now working in cybersecurity, working in threat detection. Like, how do you think like that kind of like helped you to thrive as a cybersecurity professional?
Yeah, I think I've always said it, like with code, it changes the way you think, right? Like it's all problem solving, right? You're coming up with a solution to a problem from scratch. Yeah. Right? So you do that enough times, it just changes the way you approach everything. You approach life, you approach different situations you might face, and of course, like in your job, right? So having that like technical coding background, like even in threat detection, right? A lot of threat detection it's about logic, right? If an attacker does this, what do we need? Like what, I guess, do we need to see to catch the activity from a log source standpoint, or like maybe an event code standpoint if you want to get more granular, right? So that way of like taking a problem, breaking it down into smaller pieces, and then coming up with a solution from scratch to solve whatever business need. That's what you do in your code, and that's what you do in a lot of technical roles in cybersecurity. So definitely that computer science mindset was pivotal, and it made that transition easy.
Facts.
Or easier.
Facts. Yeah, that makes sense. Let me play this.
Because I think they're able to do so much, and they're able to make such an impact, and they're also able to learn. I also want to make it clear, you can absolutely make six figures in cybersecurity and more. Now, do you make that much like right when you enter the field? Not necessarily. My first role, I was making like maybe around 80K. So I'll make a chart about it. I'll make another video about it.
I think I like the fact that she's also being honest about the fact like you don't essentially always like jump right into like six figures like in your first cybersecurity role. I'll be honest, my first role I was an intern. I was making like $15 an hour. My first full-time role I was making like 50K, right? But like literally like in a few months to like years down the line, I've made exponentially more than that, right? Over six figures. So like yes, you can make certain amounts of money in cybersecurity, but like typically like your first few roles will probably be like lesser paid and under six figures.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I worked for free, for just to get my shot, and I don't regret it, right? It led to a lot of like good opportunities and things like that. If you don't have to work for free, don't do it. Yeah, but hey, that's what I had to do. But yeah, to her point, like I like how she was really honest about like, yes, you can make that type of money, but it's not going to be from the offset, because I feel like that's a kind of like a popular thing people like to throw around and kind of sell people a dream that, you know, you're going to do this boot camp and after 3 months, you're going to be ready to make six figures. As the other guy said, right? Like, if you're getting paid six figures or more, it's because you know certain things that are worth six figures, right? And the likelihood you're going to get that level of knowledge in 3 months or 6 months, it's low, right? So I think she's doing a good job there.
Facts.
But yeah,
No, just
Man, it's that cybersecurity joy. You know? She hit the six. She hit the six figures, bro. That's how you laugh when you hit the six figures.
that's so funny though.
so gradually, of course, you're gonna get there. But some people, they do start out with 100K and more. It's good to know that your story is yours.
I think it's also important that you mentioned that some people will start with like 100K or more, right? But I always like to point out that the exception is not the rule, and unicorns are not horses. So,
Meaning the way you enter cybersecurity does not have to be through school. I entered through an apprenticeship, and I did not go to college for anything tech related. I was not technical. But I think as you get the job and you get trained, and obviously there's a reason they gave you the job too. You were interested, and maybe you already demonstrated a certain level of understanding. I'm very confident that with time, anybody can do anything. It's just how determined you are. I've been like getting more comfortable talking about salaries and being more transparent because like that's the reason I got into cybersecurity was because people were so transparent and they were like, yeah, this is a high paying career. Duh.
I think I like that perspective. Like, I mean, personally, I've not been as transparent with like my income, just because I don't think I really want to like open myself up to that kind of like scrutiny. So like, I mean, being 22 and making the money that I make is like super great. Like, I'm so blessed. I'm so grateful. But I don't think like, I think we talked about this last night. Like, we talked about the fact that like, yo, I could make videos about how I make like X amount of money as a 22-year-old cybersecurity engineer working at a FAANG company. And like, those videos would make me a lot of money. I could, start a boot camp. Like, I could start like charging people like all these different things. I could really like exploit that. But like, that's just not who I am. It's not what I'm called to be. That's not like kind of person I am. Like, if I wanted to, and I decided to make any video about like, oh, I'm making like X amount of money as a 22-year-old, like it will probably go viral. Like, I'll probably get people who will be like, oh, like, how do you do it? Like, can you teach me all of that stuff? But I just don't think that that's like the best thing for me to do. Like, I will be transparent about things. I'll be transparent about like other things. But I think for me personally, like, I just don't think like income is like the best thing I could be transparent about, because I don't think it really, it's I can always say it's high paying, but I don't think like if I did it myself personally, like I will be giving people the right motivations to get into this industry.
True. Like, I think there's two sides to it, right? Like, kind of like she said herself, she got in because it's high paying, and that's not a bad thing, right? Like, I mean, at the end of the day, we all have to pay bills, we all have different responsibilities, right? But, income and money can't really be the only motivation, and especially in a career like this where, your job doesn't necessarily end when you go home, right? Like, in order to be somebody who's making good money and to be knowledgeable, you're going to have to be able to go home and study or on a weekend or say no to, certain things, right? So at that point, right, it's not really just money. There's got to be some intrinsic motivation to it too, right? So I definitely like the way she's approaching it. Like, you can tell, like, she's got passion for the industry, but she's also being practical. Like, hey, I wanted to pay my bills, but also like, there is work I had to do, so I think that's a good way to kind of portray it.
100%. No, I appreciate the way she's approaching it too. Yeah.
So that is to say, no, you don't need to code in your job. Yes, you can make six figures. Yes, there's other non-code roles and jobs in cybersecurity. There's other non-coding roles within tech, but I believe that cybersecurity is one of those it's really difficult, but it's also really enjoyable. It's a no-brainer. You create code, you create software, it has to be protected. Let me know if you have more questions, and of course, follow for more, because I will be making more videos about cyber. As I scrolled through that page, I was like, where is cyber?
That's funny. But yeah, I think like for her, like really great perspective. I like the fact that she is like being honest. I like the fact that she's being realistic about things. I think it's good to have creators like this who are like, definitely like sharing different things about their journey, their careers, sharing some truths, but also sharing the caveats that come with that, and just really like not selling like a dream that it's not, that is half true, the way a lot of other creators do.
Yep, she did a great job.
All right, this one is how I would get into cybersecurity again with zero knowledge or experience.
This is how I'd get into cybersecurity with zero knowledge and zero experience if I started all over again. First up, I'd start with building IT and networking fundamentals. I'd go onto YouTube, Professor Messer, CompTIA A Plus and Network Plus. Then I'd pass the Network Plus exam. I wouldn't bother with the A Plus exam. I don't think you really need it.
I like it so far.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Then I'd get an IT service desk job. So I'd just apply until I got a job, making sure to format my CV or resume with the experience that I've built up here. Then while working this job, I'd start learning cybersecurity fundamentals. I'd get back on YouTube, Professor Messer Security Plus. I'd pass the CompTIA S Plus exam. If you wanted to speed this up, I'd probably go for the CompTIA Complete Bundle, where you get the course, labs, and practice.
So this is actually how I wanted to approach it, right? So like when I was like studying for when I was like in college, right? My goal was like, you know what, I'm gonna get a IT help desk job while I'm in college, and then I would use that to pivot to cybersecurity. So I started getting some experience. So at the same time, while I was applying to IT help desk jobs, I was also applying for cybersecurity internships as a college student, and not entry-level cybersecurity, but cybersecurity internships. And I think I ended up landing a cybersecurity internship while I was in college, which is what started my career. But I think it's a good path. I don't think it's like you have to follow this path, but I think it's a reasonable path to follow, like if you want to get cybersecurity.
Yeah, I agree. Like it's decent. It's a decent path, but kind of like to what you're saying, right? It also depends on where you're coming from, right? Like if you're in college, you're gonna have access to those internships. So still do the IT network, training through classes or course on your own, but maybe you don't have to work help desk because you kind of have that in between position with an internship where you can get cybersecurity experience at like a low risk level, if that makes sense. Now, if you're coming outside of college, then this might be a little more applicable or even necessary, right? So also got to kind of look at where somebody is coming from.
Yeah, no, definitely agree. And I think again here, like the caveat for us is like we were both in college when we started our cybersecurity careers. Like we already knew from the start that we wanted to like make a strong cybersecurity carear from like freshman year. So like we were already like working towards that, and we're also able to leverage internships. But I think here's probably like someone who is not in college, and also has like zero knowledge or experience.
Exams, but that's up to you. Then I'd go into something like Let's Defend and follow their SOC analyst pathway, which is completely free. And then I'd move towards trying to get a SOC analyst.
So I'm gonna add a couple more resources to Let's Defend. You've got Cyber Defenders, you've got Hack the Box, they've got the Sherlocks, you've got TryHackMe. TryHackMe's got their pathway for security operations. By the time that you're watching this video, they would have released their new certification, SAL1, which is amazing, super affordable. Highly recommend that. Check it out. I'll be linking in the description below and the video I made about it. You've got the BTL1 from Security Blue Team. You've got the TCM Security PSAA. You've got a lot of really, really good entry-level like cybersecurity like resources for either labbing and building your skills or getting like, certifications that kind of attest to those skills in addition to Let's Defend. Let's Defend is also a really great platform.
Yeah, I like how he put a bunch of lab platforms on there because I feel like a lot of times that's what people miss. They'll do the certifications, they'll even get the IT, help desk job and stuff like that and have some practical experience. But like the value of like either setting up your own lab or using one of these kind of lab providers is invaluable. And you definitely want to spend a lot of time in the lab, ahead of, going to a cybersecurity job. Even when you get the cybersecurity job, you're still going to be in the lab, so.
Facts.
Job, and I would format my CV with the experience that I've built from this stage and just apply, keep applying until you get a job.
By the way, if you want to get a cybersecurity entry-level resume that is formatted to you not having a cybersecurity job, any past experience, or even some experience, our cybersecurity entry-level resume template is like in the description below. It's like super formatted and helps you kind of structure your resume around like the experience you have and the projects that you have in order for you to be able to like accurately display like your skill sets for entry-level cybersecurity jobs. And on the flip side, if you want to actually get your existing resume reviewed by someone on our team, the CyberWOX Academy, for the price of a latte or something even cheaper than that, you can join our cybersecurity community and also get a subscription for resume reviews where we can actually help you look at your resume, like really just like take a deep dive into like what are your career goals, what are you looking to do, and how can we like format your resume to the jobs you want to apply for. And you also get access to myself, Charles, and other people on our team who are cybersecurity professionals to really like guide you and point you in the direction that is going to be helpful for your cybersecurity career. Hey, thanks for watching this reaction video. If you want to see other reaction videos, then check out this playlist over here. And if you want a step-by-step roadmap on how to get into cybersecurity in 2025, then check out this video over here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.